Hello, in this video we are going to cover arrays in JavaScript. So what is an array? So you know what a variable is, so let me just create a simple one. var1 equals 8. You could have any data in there, you could have an object in there, you could have a string, doesn't really matter. And we can print this out, all simple stuff. An array is just a collection of values, so you can almost think of it as like a collection of variables. And to create an array, you just do var name of the array. So let's say our name argument, and then equals square brackets semicolon. And now this is where you put your values. And if you want a string, you put a string. If you want to put an object, you put an object. Whatever you would put, like literally here between the equals and the semicolon, you can put here. I'm just going to keep it simple and have numbers. So I'm going to have 0. Then to add another one, you just put comma 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can add as many as you want. And to access these values, so let's say if I want to print the first two out, 0 and 1, you do console log our name. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to change these to 10, 20. The main reason is, I'll explain in a second. It's not that it wouldn't work, it might just cause a bit of confusion. So if I do 0, so this is index 0, as you can see it prints out 10. So this is the reason that I just changed. If I did 0 here and you just printed out 0, and the next one, and I need a semicolon here, so let's duplicate this. Ooh, it's going everywhere, this is. Rename that. Save, refresh, so we get a 20. If I hadn't changed these values, you would have just got printed as 0 and 1, and that's fine. That's exactly what we want. But I thought it might have caused confusion between this 0 and the actual value 0, because this 0 is the index. You can think of it almost like the key, whereas the other 0 was the value. So that's the reason I just changed these. So in this video, we won't get any conflicts. And you might be thinking, okay, 6 values, you could, duplicate it 6 times, where you need it. That's cool, but what if your array has 100 values, which, is more than logical, especially if you create one from, let's say, something like a database and you get a lot of rows, a lot of data. How would you do that? How would you, is there an easy way of doing it? And, fortunately for us, there isn't. I'm joking. There is a way, and you can just use a for loop. So as an extra task, what I'm going to show you now, but I'll recommend pausing the video, try having a go yourself. If you need any help, feel free to come back. Okay, so I'm going to create a for loop, create a variable called I, assign a value of 0, put a semicolon, and I'm going to say while I is less than, can you guess? We want to do the length of this, so this will be 6, but we don't want to put 6 directly here. We're going to say our name dot length, so we're going to use a property of our array, and this will get the length of it, which is pretty darn cool. And now we are going to say I plus plus, we're going to do console.log our name I'm going to comment these out, reload, see what we get. So we get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and that is all really, really cool stuff. Okay, so there's a couple of other different ways that you can create an array. You can use the new keyword as well and use the array object. So you could, let's say, if you don't know the values yet, but you know how many you're going to have, you could do something along these lines. And let me show you right here. Actually, so I'll create a new array. Call this new array equals new array, and let's say 100, so a lot of them. So we don't know the values yet, but we know there's going to be 100 items in there. And let's just say we use a for loop, and just to save time, I will copy that, and put that here. Instead of printing it out like this, we're just going to say new array I, and we're going to replace what's our I with, our index I with, what are we going to put here? Let's put I squared. So let's just do I times I, and now we'll print it out. and need to grab hold of this, put this here, put this here, and I'm going to comment this out just so we can see exactly what's happening. Okay, so we get 0, 1, 4, da da da, and you might be thinking, is 100, squared equal to this? Isn't that something like what, 10,000? And you're right, it is 10,000. But remember, this is less than, and the last value at your array is always the size minus 1 because you start accessing the array at index 0. So this will be 900. No, but this will be 99 times 99, which gives you this value. Okay, so that is another way of creating the array. So there are a few different functions that we can use as well. So we can use functions to essentially add elements to the array. So what I'll do is I'll copy this down here, but before I actually print it out again, I'll do new array dot push, and if I do push, I can literally just add an extra item. So if I just say hello world, save it, refresh, as you can see, if I scroll up, so the first time it got printed out, there was no hello world at the end of it, but second time there was a hello world, because push literally just adds a new element to the end of the array. So that is pretty cool, and as you can see, you can mix and match the data type. They don't all have to be numbers or strings. In other languages, quite a lot of other programming languages, arrays have to be one type of data type, but in JavaScript a lot of things are, I'd say, pretty darn loose. There are a bunch of other functions that you can utilize, like sort. So another thing you can get, it sorts the elements of the array, which is really useful to have built-in function like this. You can get a function called toString, which converts it, even if it's not a string, into a string. So like these numbers, for example. You can have a method called pop, which essentially just what happened there? Removes the last element of the array, and like there's so many other methods. As long as you understand what we've done so far, you'll be all good to go. I'll provide a link with the video so you can see all the different features. But before we wrap up, I just want to show you one or two other little things. So there's one or two little things. So what I'm gonna do is console log out. So these are some extra ES6 functions, so newer JavaScript functions, and I'm gonna do new array and dot find index. You might be thinking, okay, well, dot find index, what is what's all this about? And if I do 9801, refresh. Okay, so what has happened? So new array dot find index. Okay, so far so good. While I think I'm missing a couple of lines. Still not the result that I'm expecting. So new array dot find index x. This is really confusing. So let me just think about it. Why this is not working? Because this, I think you can guess what we're, trying to do with this. This should just purely get the actual index instead of getting the element itself. So if you have an element and you want to just be able to get the, that particular element, this should, literally just access it, find it. Okay, because you got the regular find method. So if I put in 1, for example, keep saying 1 is not a function. I know 1 isn't a function. So why is this saying 1 isn't a function? It's like, I know it's let me try something else. Yeah, just doesn't like it on that one either. Like, this is just totally odd. Like, it's saying it's not a function, which is just totally weird. One other thing I'm thinking about trying. Now, one second, let me just sort of go back to the find index. I think I'm just like missing something here, just like something small. I keep getting, oh, that should return an index of 0, but that still doesn't return an index of 0. So find index, well, x is x and that value equals 0. Okay, that's fine. That seems better now. Yeah, there we go. Okay, made a couple of little mistakes. One, it needs to be in this, format. Because if I were to do it in with the other one, our name, and let's see if I do 10. That's fine as well. So I was doing the wrong values. So yeah, sorry about that. Let's just switch back. Okay, so these are some new features. What have I done now? Yeah. Wrong code, but okay, all good. So you choose array, then you do .find index or .find, and then in here this takes a slightly different set of parameters. So you're just saying this is the value that you're trying to find in there. Yeah, and you're assigning it. They're saying this is the value that you're actually trying to specifically check for. So you have this format, and then you put 9801 here. And the reason you have this sort of format is because you might actually do some sort of crazy ass thing where you say, we know zeros in here, so you could do minus 9801. This should return. Yeah, I'm going a bit too complex here, and I'm honestly confusing myself now. What about oh, I'm not saving them as well. That's really messing things up. Okay, find the index instead of the value. Regular find finds the value, and this format, while x, and then you put the value itself. So 9,801 is at the last index, and as the array is of size 100, the last index is n, which is 100 minus 1, so it would be 99. So this is an ES6 function. There are some other functions as well. You can use a for in loop as well, a for each loop to be able to loop over the array. I recommend doing that as an extra task. I'm going to provide a link that will show you all of these different features. Sorry about this little confusion here. I was putting either the wrong array with the wrong value in there, or the wrong, this format here. I was just all over the place. Sorry about that. We got it fixed, so it's great to see how to fix it as well. So thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.